Hi, this is Marguerite Tomery from Tribes Press, and today I'm talking to the author, Kevin Lawlor, about his new book, A Guide to Starting Your Own Business. But before I talk to Kevin about his book, I would like to talk to him about himself. So there's always a journey for everybody that brings them to the point of writing a story, whether it's fiction or a factual book like a business book that Kevin has created. So Kevin, you're very welcome to this interview. And I would like to ask you a little bit about yourself. How did this boy become this man to produce these things, to finally create a book, A Guide to Starting Business the Irish Way?
Hello, Marguerite. My name is Kevin Lawlor, and I'm a retired teacher, but it was a long journey to that point. I grew up in a place called Portarlington in County Laois, and my father was the local blacksmith, so everybody in Portarlington would have known our family. I used to do a lot of work in the forge, but my father always said I'd be only useful pushing a pen.
Oh no, oh no. He didn't believe in your blacksmith abilities.
No, didn't believe in my blacksmith abilities, but I did well at school and I went to university and I did a commerce degree, which enhanced my interest more into the area of entrepreneurship.
Well, what brought you from a father who was a blacksmith and you being around horses and physical labor, physical work with your hands, to going in a very different route to the route that we say your parents had?
I think I was very lucky because, like, as a working class lad, two of my best friends, their parents were doctors, and the parents were postmasters, and they were going to university, so I felt I should go as well. Wouldn't have known much about career guidance at that time, hardly existed. So I just went on that basis, and one of the friends suggested I should think of doing commerce because I was good with figures.
Oh, it's because you were good with figures, you were good with maths and in school.
Good with maths and figures.
Yeah.
And that I should be able to do well in that area. But I got to university and I'm a huge sports fan. While in college, I was over the Commerce soccer team, and I would spend more time at arranging games and fixtures than study and so on. But I eventually got through my degree and did the HDip, and then I ended up teaching in Marion College in Ballsbridge. I was teaching business and accounts. And
what brought you from commerce, where you could have gone on to become an accountant, to going into teaching instead?
Yeah, I had a long chat with one of my lecturers one day, Des Halley, and he said, having listened to you, Kevin, he says, you're good with people and you would do very well if you went into teaching. And so that brought me into teaching, and I just loved teaching, and sport ran alongside it because I coached teams in Gaelic football, hurling, soccer, rugby, and like that was a huge part of my life, as well as teaching in the classroom.
Yeah.
And like at a certain point, I became the deputy principal of the school, and I was 12 years doing that. And the choice was to be a principal or go out on my own in business. And I had set up a language school 2 years previous, and I felt this was the way to go. And I went out, and while I was at it, another opportunity came up of a teacher recruitment business, where we would place teachers in schools abroad. There wasn't much demand for it in Ireland at the time, and it didn't. We got out of it without losing much money, but it took off a year or more afterwards, teacher recruitment, because everybody in Ireland said you needed a big mortgage for your house, so go to Dubai. And
Okay, yeah.
the move towards Dubai increased, and like it just was the wrong. We had jobs for Dubai, so we had, but we couldn't fill them when we were doing it. But the mortgage market created the stir that that business would have needed.
So your business hit the market at just the right time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
They say with
the
business
idea
timing,
was good.
yeah.
Like we were dealing with international schools mainly in all the main cities. There are international schools.
Yeah.
So we supplied many of them with teachers, and the same in Dubai. And we did South America as well. There was some interest in Brazil and Chile. And like, so was at that. And I got the idea with two friends to set up a grind school because it was going really well on the south side of the city. So I taught the north side, and we got rooms in St. Pat's of Drumcondra, and we ran a grind school there for 2 years. But again, it just, the market never seemed to be there. And if I look back and give out to myself, I would have felt maybe we should have done more market research, because anytime I'm teaching a class, I say to them, look, you need your market research, you need your business plan. They're the two things to really get going if you want to succeed. And
So you left as deputy principal, you set up your own business. You continued to learn in business. Like it's very different, I suppose, teaching
yes,
about business
yeah,
compared to being in business.
yeah.
And once you're in business, you learned a lot, like about market
I
research and
learned a lot.
business plans.
Taking risks. Taking risks was the big thing that you'd never do when you're teaching. It's
Yeah, it's
easy.
very different.
It's
Yeah.
easy speak the game, and
Mm.
you know yourself with what you've done. You've taken a lot of risk and so on, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
But I suppose the thing is, never give up. Keep at it.
Mm.
But the one thing I kept doing, I entrepreneurship. I ran classes in entrepreneurship in Trinity College to dental students, and I'm still doing that. But I was talking to somebody one day who said, would I not think of going after GPs, young GPs? And I started working on that idea, got in touch with the Council of GPs, and the guy that was over it was in the first class I had in Marion College for
Well,
business. And he said, you don't need a CV. He said to me, I know you. And we were to start, but the lockdown came at March 2020. And
19, yeah.
I decided then to start making out a lot of notes. And in
Yeah.
making out the notes, I said, this should nearly go into a book.
Yeah.
And so that's where the idea of and doing the book, plus I felt there was no Irish versions of anything got to do with start a business, except one from about 6 years ago, which was more names and addresses and phone numbers than giving someone guidance and so on.
So you have taught commerce, you've taught entrepreneurship, you've been an entrepreneur, you are an entrepreneur, and all of this combined, because there's a huge learning in all of it. You had the research, the data there, you know, the scientific research, as well as the experience, the actual on the ground experience of running a business. And all of that led to you creating a book called A Guide to Starting Business, The Irish Way. Why did you, because I noticed that whenever there was a gap in the market, you seemed to jump into it. So you obviously saw there was a gap in the market here. And what was the gap in the market that you saw?
I was also lucky to get a very good publisher who guided me along the way. But like it's in a lot of discussions the last couple of years. There's a lot more people want to start a business.
Yeah.
And the idea of business, even in education, it's just in every school. There's entrepreneurship in every school in terms of students setting up groups to come up with a business idea. And likewise at third level, just there are a lot of people out there who would like to run a business
Mm.
as against be a manager of a business.
Yeah.
And
I think we have
that's
a
what I
sorry, yeah.
go on.
I think we have a very high percentage of medium to startup business, or medium to small to medium enterprises in Ireland. So that there's a kind of an environment or an attitude towards entrepreneurship that's growing each year.
It's very pro-business out there, so it is at the minute. And there's probably a degree of sympathy then with the whole lockdown, how business has been affected by it.
Mm.
And there are massive opportunities at the moment because of what has happened. Like the supply chains are really being filled up, so they are presently.
Well, all I can say to you is well done on what you've achieved. Well done on producing this book. Thanks very much for giving us a little bit of background information about what brought you to this point of writing the book. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Marguerite.